Hello everyone! In today's video I'm going to show you how to make this gun shoot continuously so it never runs out of bullets. In order to do this, a little bit of clickbaiting, you actually need 7 of these things. And you need a few timers. So I'm going to put a timer right behind that one, and I'm going to go into my properties tool and adjust that timer to 3 seconds. Then I'm going to select both of these with the cloning tool, and we're going to clone it. I'm using 10 to clone it because after you get all of these hooked up and timed infinitely, then you could potentially be moving them together. And you want to be getting them right on top of each other. So use some sort of even amount that you can remember easily, and then you can get them placed right on top of each other. Okay, so I've got these timers. They're all set to 3 because I cloned them. I'm going to drop a few more timers. Let's just do one more timer there, and then I need a switch to activate it, and maybe I need a switch to delete that one and then unselect that. Yeah. Okay, so actually I'm going to bind these things, and I actually am going to bind to this one, I guess. That starts the chain, that one to that one, that one to that one. Okay, and this timer here I'm going to set at 0.1, just to have something really quick. Alright, that just completes the loop. You could just tie this one back to that one again, but if you put this extra one in here, it allows you to kind of link other things to it. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I want to tie the switch to that timer. That's actually probably a good thing to do. We'll run into that later. So anyway, here's this, and I believe I can flip the switch, and it does absolutely nothing because I didn't bind the things. There we go. There we go. Okay, maybe now. So what you can see is that we've always got at least one of them firing, and actually you have 2 of them firing while they change off. So it does kind of like a little handoff sort of thing. We get 2 of them for just a second. And by the time it comes back around, this one will be ready to fire, and then that one's ready to fire before it's needed. So 3 seconds is your friend, 7 of them is the way to go. Okay, so once you've got that, then you can add one more. Ooh, why am I going to add one more? I'll show you. So this one is not binded to anything. So you actually have one that's just for looks. So what you can do is you can place all of these together. Well, I'll show you. Check this out. Okay, so here's the same basic thing we had set up before. I've got another timer in here, and this one I've been playing with, so I've got all these connections set up. But essentially this is that same loop that I just set up in the other one. I've got another timer looped in, so it loops through that one and then starts this loop again. This loop right here I'm using to loop all of these other ones. So I guess it starts, because I'm on this one, it starts each one of these. How does that work? So I'm starting it with the first one in a loop on each one of these. So I've pulled all of these things together, and you can see right here, these are all here, but there's a whole bunch of them inside that. Let's see if I can just select these. There you can see there's 7 of them inside there. And here's the 8th one. So what I've done is I make them invisible, make all 7 of them invisible, then put the 8th one inside, and then here's its timer that's linked to it. And it just gets started from that one timer right there. And then let me unanchor this. There we go. So click the switch, I just move the switch up here so I can get a hold of it easier. And there they all start. Now this one, it's on a pilot seat, so I'm moving this thing around just by WWW to lift it up, and of course I can flip it. I've got all this stuff here, all collision off, but because I've got all these hinges in here, I can take it multiple directions. So I can go any way I want to, and it's kind of a little bit of a, a gimbal kind of thing there. So it works pretty good. It's kind of neat. The only problem is it's excessively difficult to aim because, as you can imagine, I keep falling. Now, I could do something a little bit different. I could add a counterweight to counter for the weight of the gun. I'd have to weigh the gun, and then you'd have to get it out the right distance behind it. Totally doable. Haven't done it because I came up with a better solution. So on this one, I've got these wired to all of these mechanized gimbals here, and they can turn like so. So you get a whole bunch of them turning in sync with each other. Okay, so there's that. So once I had this thing with this movable aiming device, I also tied it to the camera so you can look through the camera on this one and you can see where you're going with it, which is okay because you got one of them that's shooting at the same spot all the time and the other ones are right beside it, which is, it's alright. Okay, so then check this out. So now I attached these to a platform that allows me to, go down the river and shoot all the things. And I find that it's very difficult. It's difficult to shoot the rocks. The precision's not that great. So I can slow down the wheels, which I have tried, and it does kind of work. It kind of helps to get your accuracy up a little bit better. But you can't be quite as responsive then. I also discovered a couple other things. There are certain blocks that I just plain can't take out. For instance, the exploding blocks, the bombs in the alien stage, it won't take those out. Mines, whatever they are. The red boxes that explode, it's not going to take those out. There are some items in the lower stages, like I ran into a log. I forget what stage it is. Maybe it's coming up next here. Forget which one it is that has the logs in it. Anyway, not this stage. But I had a log that I absolutely could not take out. There's just no way. I shot that thing over and over again. I reloaded and tried it again and again. Nothing. So where this one falters big time is its ability to move faster and do anything other than shoot the rocks. Because you have all of those later stages that throw stuff at you and then just take out the mechanical parts or take out the timers, and there's no way you can protect the timers. I mean, if you put them inside a box, the whole thing inside a box, then you can't see where you're shooting, or the front of the guns have to be open or the bullets can't come out. But you saw right there that thing just entered through what would be the front, and yeah, I got two series already dead, and you can see what happens here. They took out the timers, so that just keeps happening. Oh, there goes another, a whole piece. That one, the timer survived, so had I not had it on plastic, it might have been better. But you could see on that other one why I ended up doing plastic, because when I had my pilot seat on the gun, when I was flipping it around, it was very heavy. The gun was heavy, so I was trying to cut down on weight as much as possible by using plastic. But it only works to a limited degree. All right, so I do have another thing. So I was thinking, since it's taken everything out, I need the ability to drive. And there is that whole adding plastic protection blocks and turning collision off in front of them. So what if I combined a bunch of that stuff together? So if you do combine a bunch of those ideas together, you get something that maybe looks like this. So what this is 4 sets of the looping one. So there's actually 8 on each one of these things. So we're looking at, 32 guns and 4 servos. So what I've got is I've set the servos to 20-degree servo angle. So I rotated the guns 10 degrees to the left. Then I put the servos activating off of this timer. this timer is in a loop, an infinite loop with this one, so that this one touches that one touches this one. They just loop forever, and they are going 0.3 seconds apiece. So they do a nice tight little loop right there. What that does is every 0.3 seconds it waves this thing back and forth, or I guess it pushes it one direction for 0.3 seconds, and then it pushes it the other direction for 0.3 seconds. And I've got the servo speed set to 0.5, so it is going pretty slow, but it only has to do 20 degrees, so it's enough. And this switch right here activates this timer that starts this little loop for the servos for the back and forth motion. And it follows this little path here and fires up this timer, which ties to this timer, which ties to all the other timers, along with this one right down here and this one back here that is in this loop. So these here, let's see if I can get zoomed in. So I've got jets inside here too, so it's difficult to grab a hold of these things sometimes. I was wanting to grab this tool. So that one has a delay time of 7. So in order to set this up so that multiple ones will trigger at the same time and repeat, and they're all controllable by a single switch, and it seems like there was some other caveat, but in order to do this, I set up an external timer loop. So there's a timer loop between this timer and this one and this one. Why are they spread out like this? I'm sorry. that was just, I don't care where I put it. Let's just throw them in there somewhere, and then I put the chair on top and all this other junk. So those three timers there, they're all set to 7 seconds. So the reason they're set to 7 seconds is that if you put a timer out and you set it to 3 seconds, and then you put 7 of those down, then you've got 7 times 3, 21. So in order to get that loop set up on here, like I had on that other build, I needed the same time. So I needed 21 seconds before these things have to start looping again. 10 is the maximum amount of time that you can set a timer for. So you have to use more than one, and guess what? 21 seconds means more than 2. So I just set them all to the same. Okay, let's drive. So this thing can move now, and if I flip the switch, you'll see the toggling action start, and then they'll start firing. And you can see what all the timers are doing. They're doing the little thing, kind of going nuts. So what this is doing is it's laying down a path of fire in front of the vehicle that will take out the rocks, which, you know, it's pretty cool. And I can move. So the good thing about that is if I get into an exploding stage or something, oh yeah, I put jets on it so I can fly over the exploding stuff. I can't drive over the exploding stuff, and it's too wide to, you know, like maneuver around and expect to actually dodge all of them. So, you know, jets are your friend. My friend too. So there is a little bit of trickery here. This does work technically, and I've done it, and it does, you know, sort of function, but it has another caveat. When you approach the stage boundary, like I'm about to right here, right there, so it's not shooting through this. It stops. The bullets stop right there, and if I did not do this one extra little step here, I would be banging into something right on the other side of that stage. And in order to show you that, I would have to get the transparency like that. So what I've done is I put this block out here, and just now they're going to stop firing, aren't they? Okay. What? Come on, shoot something. Okay, there we go. So I put the block out there, and I measured how far out they shoot. This is not going to be a very good example because I'm going back and forth like crazy. But essentially, I did it so that the guns would shoot right at the base of this protection block. And the protection blocks is a whole bunch of panels. They're 0.5 thick, and they're sitting out there. For my measurement, I measured off of where I was parked in the vehicle, and, well, let's see. My protection block is too far under the vehicle to really tell you for sure. I guess it's right there. Okay, so fair to say Then at the angle that I've chosen, this thing is 138 studs out. So 138 studs is about how far the guns will shoot at the angle that I had them set at. So I had like a 5-degree down angle on those as well. So that's something you'll have to do if you're going to shoot them down at the river, is put a little down angle on them. And that's just kind of a fixed, that's a fixed angle that I just grabbed them and twisted them down like that. Kind of like giving them the angle of 10 degrees so that you can move them 20 with the servo. Okay, finally made it to the treasure after all of that yakking. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and please like the video if you like this kind of stuff. Subscribe to the channel would be awesome, and check out my next video. I do have a lot of stuff to show. You can see here, I think I'm up to about 170 or so saves. So I've got all of these to show, and then I've got the Noob to Pro series that I'm doing on an alt account as well. So there will be lots of videos to do long into the future. And I'm building new stuff all the time. So love the game. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.